few tips on cheap ways to set up terrariums. I'm going to offer some things that you can do with items just around the house, as well as point out some buying alternatives so that you can save money, yet still make something really cool. First off and foremost, a few tools that are really handy is a hot glue gun. You can do a lot of different things, make a lot of your own decorations with a hot glue gun. It is also very good for making repairs to branches and stuff. And I say hot glue, some people are really skeptical, but all hot glue is melted plastic. So it is toxic free, is perfectly safe, and it takes temperatures above 100 degrees to melt the plastic. So you can use a hot glue even in a desert terrarium. So one of my favorite tools. Absolutely gotta have it. Another thing you're gonna want is a pocket knife. Doesn't need to be anything big. And you should also have a nail file, preferably a metal one works best, on handy for smoothing down any rough edges that you have cut. What would be better would be a wood burning tool for cutting your ventilation, but you can just use a pocket knife. Another option, if you don't have a wood burning tool, is you can just use a lighter or a lit candle and then hold a clean, make sure it is not rusty, nail through the flame till it's red hot. Make sure you hold it with pliers or something and use that to poke your holes. So a lighter, some pliers, and clean nail. Stuff you probably already have around your house instead of going out and buying a wood burner. Great tool. Now, when it comes to actually picking your terrarium, what you're going to create your terrarium in, glass cages like this they're very pretty to look at, but they're also quite expensive. They're heavy. If you drop them or you run into a wall, they break, they shatter. So it depends on what you're going to need, and the bigger they are, the more expensive. Plastic terrarium like this are cheaper. They don't come in anything, generally don't come in anything bigger than a 5-gallon, so it's not going to be suitable like for a boa or anything. And they scratch easily, which is a downside, but they are cheaper if you just want something nice and small. But instead of buying a glass terrarium or a plastic terrarium, you can just go down to your local Walmart or whatever, and you can buy storage containers. This is a food storage container. You get 3 in a pack for like $7. And different sizes, you know, it's pretty small, but in a large cookie one, you know, you can keep millipedes and ground-dwelling spiders. You can raise up hatchling snakes and geckos and something, you know, the big, long, wide ones, but it's really cheap. Another thing would be to go to any kind of like home improvement center, Walmart, whatever, and you can actually buy plastic, Rubbermaid, Tuppermaid containers, something like you would store Christmas decorations in, for instance. This is what they call a plastic shoebox. I didn't need anything big, but you can get clear ones in really, really big sizes. So for cheaper than what you would pay, say you needed a 20-gallon, you can get for half the price that you would spend on a glass 20-gallon, you can get an all clear storage container for half the price. It's not quite as pretty, but it works if you're trying to save money for a breeding project or something like that. And you can get ones that are quite clear as well. I suggest anything where the lid, the lip of the lid actually fully covers down around the lip of the container. It's best. More secure. Make sure it snaps tight pretty good and that you can't lift up a side with just one finger or something without applying good pressure. And if they got snaps on all 4 sides to close them, even better as far as security goes. Plastic containers are best suited for invertebrates rather than reptiles, but I've seen some really good brands out there for reptiles. Some other things that you can do that are cheaper also is if you need a tall container. This is a plastic cookie jar. It cost me about $7. Half-gallon at Walmart, just poked holes in the container, and it's really good if you need something tall. Again, very cheap. Again, not the prettiest, but we're looking to save money here. Something else that people don't think of is there's actually some food containers that you get food in or something that you would normally throw away. They can actually be converted into terrariums. This, for instance, is a plastic container from Chinese takeout food. And all I did was I cleaned it out very, very good. This had something barbecue in it. I cleaned it really good. And it's not the strongest or anything. You'll have to be careful poking holes. But something like this that's long and flat would be good for small ground-dwelling invertebrates or for raising up small babies to something larger. Something like this would be good for, 2 small beetles or so, or 2-3 small species of cockroach, or a whole bunch of baby millipedes that you want to raise up. And yeah, you can only see from the top, but it's cheap, it's quick and simple, and honestly, I think it looks kind of cool. Something else is, this is a container from pretzels. You can also get these in containers like this with cheese ball that has cheese balls in them, just screw or lid that you would normally throw out. This is about 2 gallons worth of size right here, and it's tall, so it'd be really good for anything climbing, such as a smaller medium-sized species of upwhirl tarantula, or something like that where you really need the height. Great. Something like this would be great for a praying mantis, and as you can see, is just as big, at least height-wise, as what my giant praying mantis is in, which is right here. So, this is something you would throw away. I mean, it's free. You already ate the food out of it, and you can use it as a cage. Total plus. So, those are just some shopping around for your general caging ideas that, could be cheaper, save a lot of money. Now, for decorating your terrarium, some things that you can do around the house as far as decorating is egg cartons are very widely used, especially for invertebrates, for housing. Put in beetle colonies, in roach colonies, and even for raising spiders and everything. It's great because it creates a vertical climbing area, and then you stack them in behind and underneath them. It actually creates a hiding zone. So it creates as climbing space and a hide. Again, it's something you would throw away. This isn't very pretty, but you can actually do a color theme, since depending on the brand, they come in all kinds of colors. I mean, you can get egg cartons that are yellow, pink, blue, green. So you can actually do an entire color scheme if you wanted something a little nicer to look at just using egg cartons. Another thing that's great is toilet paper rolls. And you can cut them in half or just use the whole tube and put that in there as a hide. You can cut them long ways in half and make like a half log hide out of them. And they also create a little bit of vertical space by being able to climb on top of them. And I use these for my beetles, my mealworm and superworm colonies. Not pretty. Really can't do much pretty with it, but I highly suggest using toilet paper rolls as hides when you're quarantining anything new to make sure that they don't have mites or anything. Please see my quarantine videos for more information on setting up a quarantine tank for different invertebrates, reptiles, and whatnot, and what to look for. Some other things, you could just use a box, some kind of a box that you would throw out, and just tear off the front of it and use that as a hide if you need something bigger, like say for a snake. Want to use something for a snake or a bearded dragon. Find an appropriate size box, say something you got Twinkies in or something, and just rip off one side of the box and stick it in there, and it's now a hide. Really cheap. Again, not pretty. However, if you want to do a color scheme and make it prettier, this is where the hot glue gun comes in. You can hot glue onto a box or even a toilet paper roll construction paper. And it is completely 100% safe. It is, the construction paper and the box is not good in a high humidity situation, but for desert, it is great. Just glue it on there and you can make it whatever color you want. Now, some cheap things that you can buy for decorating that you may not think of is, I like plastic canvas for my invertebrates. And this comes in all kinds of colors, and it comes in a big sheet the size of printer paper. And you can get one sheet for less than $1. Comes in all kinds of colors. It's a great place for invertebrates to be able to hook their feet into for a steady grip. And you can use it, I like using it as a backing. Like I did up here, I actually got a purple piece in the back, and that is actually my background, is a piece of plastic canvas. And you can find plastic canvas in any craft store with the yarn. So have fun with that. It's awesome. You can make branches, climbing branches, colored, pretty colorful, awesome colored climbing sticks and whatnot from plastic clothes hangers. And all I did was I cut off a long piece of a plastic clothes hanger. And again, if you want something pretty, you can find them in all kinds of colors, all over the place. And I actually took a high-grade sandpaper and I sanded against the grain, you know, twisted it around and stuff, and actually made this rough. So it's not smooth, so there was a better gripping texture there for my bugs. But that's something else you can use for invertebrates mostly. If you need something with a wider diameter, such as for a gecko to climb on, you can buy foam pool, like noodles, you know, foam pool noodles for the pool at a Dollar Tree and Walmart real cheap. And then you can just cut them into whatever section. And you just cut them slightly longer than wherever you want to place them, and just shove them in there real tight. You don't even need anything to hold them up. You just shove them in there. They hold themselves up real sturdy. You can get them in all kinds of colors if you want to do a color scheme. And they're waterproof, so they're very, very easy to clean. And I used that for my gecko up here when I was quarantining him, and he loved him, worked great. Now, some other things that you can do in order to save money. Why go to the pet store and pay $15 or what have you not just for one piece of grapevine or mopani wood or any kind of branch thing? Why spend all that money when you can just go right outside, probably in your own backyard, and get branches, all the branches you want, for free? For free. Come on. Seriously, this is no-brainer. You can collect your own wooden climbing equipment by going outside. Go outside, your own yard, park, whatever. Find branches. You can cut them down to whatever size later you need. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, you don't know what could be on them. You're right. You don't. Before you bring them in the house, check for any insects climbing on them. You know, shake them off. But to make them safe and sanitary for your pet, all you gotta do is stick them in the oven. Yes, the oven, as in where you bake a cake, at 250 degrees for 10 to 30 minutes. Dry. And you take them out, and that will kill any kind of bacteria, viruses, mold spores, and all that happy stuff on it, and will sanitize them. That is how they sanitize the kind of wood they get in the store. They bake it and put it through a chemical process. So go outside, get your own wood, bake it to sanitize it exactly like the stuff you get in the store, except less chemicals involved in that process. So that's what I do. I love doing that. It's great. And it looks more natural because you really did get it from outside. Green little pieces of lichen is not a problem. It just adds to your really nice naturalistic feel. And I love it. And it's free. Something else that you can do is bamboo is a very cheap alternative in a terrarium. It's much cheaper than buying vines. This is actually a cut down piece. So all this bamboo in here is all from this. And I bought this, it's a 3-foot piece, and I got it for $4. $4 for an entire yard of bamboo. For a yard of reptile vine, you're going to pay about 15 bucks. So using bamboo is a very cheap alternative, and you get that very tropical look, that very Hawaiian-y tropical theme look using bamboo. And you can pick up bamboo at any hobby store, home improvement store, or any garden center. So it's really easy to get a hold of. A little bit more work because you gotta saw off the ends, and then you're gonna need to sand down any rough patches and whatnot, but it is worth the extra work for it. Alright, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yes, instead of buying reptile plants from the reptile store, make your own plants. You can just go to any hobby store, any craft shop, where they have tons of silk flowers and leaves for making fake arrangements. You get way more variety, and you're going to pay a lot less money. You can pick out any kind of leaves and flowers and whatnot to match any kind of theme. And then you just bring it home, you cut them down to whatever size, and again, handy dandy hot glue gun. Dab hot glue onto a rock from outside, or a piece of wood from outside, or shale, whatever. You can even just buy a rock actually for a garden real cheap, even at a garden center. And you just dab on hot glue, stick in the stems of your flowers, hold them there till the glue cools and dries. And the possibilities are endless, and you're going to pay way less money than buying something made from the reptile store. So any theme out there, if you need it, you can get it. Like this tank, I insisted on having hibiscus. They do not make silk hibiscus plants for reptile cages. So I just bought the hibiscus, I bought the whole bunch, and I cut them down to the sizes and arranged it the way I want, and spent way less money than I would have just to buy one big plant that size at a pet store. So one of my favorite things to do for making your own terrariums is make your own leafy arrangements, your own flower decorations, rather than buying ones from a pet store. You save them. I can't tell you how much I just love doing that, because you can find anything and spend way less money on it. So you could do something red, white, and blue if you wanted, or all black for Halloween or something. You're not going to be able to find stuff like that at a pet store. You have so much fun making it. You may get frustrated, believe me. But it's fun, and the turnout that you get is always going to be worth it. And the turnout in your budget, by using these different little tips and hints that I gave you today, by the time you're done using these tips and hints, hopefully, who knows, you might have enough money left over in your budget to actually buy that other pet that you wanted. So you won't have to pick and choose between animal A and animal type B. You'll actually have the money to buy and house both in a attractive, maybe even setup. So I hope I helped. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment and I'll see what I can do for you. Alright? Bye.